Grab a cup, settle in, and turn it up. It's time for a couple of drips. Coffee, conversation, and occasional quips. Here's your host, Chris Granger.
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Couple of Drips, and we're going doppio with the coffee today because we have two guests in the studio, which is quite a rare occasion. I think it's only ever happened once before. We have two members of Eccleshall Community Amateur Dramatic Society, ECAD, who are presenting Oliver this June. Please welcome Rebecca Green, who is founder of ECAD and directs the shows, and Rob Davis, who is soon to be playing Fagin and co-directing. Hello guys, how you doing?
Good afternoon. Yes, very well, thank you.
Yes, good afternoon.
Looking forward to the show. How's the prep for the show going?
Surprisingly well. Yeah,
Yes.
we normally have a mad panic around this time, thinking we're never going to get this show on the road. But actually, on this occasion, and Becky thinks so more than I do, I still have a slight panic that I think we're ahead of the game.
We're definitely ahead of the game. I am not even in slight panic mode, and normally I would be in full panic mode. So this
Nice.
is lovely.
That's nice. So you formed ECAD, Becky. How did that happen?
Well, not surprisingly, as how most things probably happen in Eccleshall, it started in the pub. Myself and one of our other thespians, Mandy, we were wanting to join a drama group. There wasn't anything really locally. And we said, well, if there's nothing here, instead of moaning about it, why don't we just start something?
Yeah, brilliant.
And that's just how it started.
And how did you get involved, Rob?
Well, I moved to Eccleshall in 2020, lockdown period. Didn't know anybody here, well, so I thought. And my daughter was just finishing university, so Charlotte, my daughter Charlotte, and she and I felt we wanted to do something. I was going to join a choir. She wanted to go and do some acting, singing, dancing, because she's good at those things. And she spotted the ECAD advert and said, Dad, will you come with me?
Brilliant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So we went along and...
And you're probably even more involved than she is now.
well, equally. And it is actually a huge honour to be able to be on stage with my daughter.
Yeah,
And I love it. And
That's lovely.
I could never have played sport with her.
Yeah,
I was a sportsman. I did lots of sport of various kinds. So that would never have happened. She's not into that. But I can be on stage with her, and so it's a real privilege
That's
for me
lovely.
to be able to do so.
And you mentioned choir. Have you? You were thinking of joining the choir. Have you sung previously? Is that something that because you sing in the show, which we'll come on to a little later on? But
No, I'm not a singer. Becky's the singer.
Becky, tell us about your singing.
Yes, I mean, that's probably the only thing I can do when it comes to the stage is the singing. Other than that, I'm definitely more of the backstage. I like the organising, the planning and yelling at people with what to do.
Nice. And how did you get into the singing?
It's just something I've always done. I did it with my grandpa when I was younger. My dad has always been into music. I've done a couple of competitions in the past. I've done open mic and generally always just love the theatre.
Lovely. And how did you get into the yelling and organising people?
Well, I think that's just something I've always been good at as well. So, yes, if I'm not doing that on the, for the theatre, I'm a lecturer, so I get to do a lot of that at work as well.
Yeah. 3 teachers on a podcast. There's got to be a joke there somewhere, hasn't there? I think, without further ado, we'll try the coffee before it goes cold.
All together now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Coffee time, it's coffee time. It doesn't matter if it's your place or mine. Coffee they call the wine of therapy. It grows on the vine and it's better than tea.
Coffee time, right? So, what do we, Rob? Do you want to? Have you got your glasses on, Rob? Your glasses are on the table. Do you want to tell us what we're drinking today? I'll shake
will be a
my
pleasure.
beans at you.
I should be so lucky. Cafe Monteverde,
Cafe Monteverde.
Costa Rica, sustainably grown, Cloud Forest Blend.
Yeah, we don't often try a blend. We normally do single origin, single source on here. But it is single source because it's all from the Cloud Forest. But it's I had a friend who travelled there a while ago and highly recommended them. So I've bought a few bags of coffee from there. So I had to import that from Costa Rica. So took quite a while to get here. But let's all try it and see what we think, shall we? Don't be afraid to slurp and spray it on the taste buds and let me know kind of what flavours you get from it. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Tastes like coffee. Does that help?
No, that happens all the time. Yeah. What are you getting from it? Are you getting any flavours?
I'm really the wrong person to ask. Being a tea drinker, I rarely drink coffee.
Get out.
But it's quite nice, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a nice, smooth coffee.
I mean, the nice thing about when you buy nice quality coffee is obviously we've not got any milk and sugar in it here. And a lot of people go, oh, I have to have milk and sugar. But when you buy nice quality coffee, you'd be surprised how many people go, oh, no, I could drink that black.
Yeah, I am a milk and sugar person. But no, that is very palatable.
It's kind of
yeah.
peanutty, chocolatey, I'm getting a little bit. I mean, that may just be that in the pub last night, I had the burger with peanut butter and jalapeno jam on it. Not unpleasant.
No, it's very pleasant.
Very-
Definitely
yeah,
darker
tasty.
than what I normally do.
No, it's very tasty. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
good.
drink that without milk or sugar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
I'm embarrassed that I can't think of the flavours that I'm getting from it. I don't have the language. I don't
It's very
think.
difficult, and I've got friends who are much better at it than me, you know, of getting. But some of them come with tasting notes. A lot of the coffees, when they arrive, you have like hints of blackberry and hints of bubblegum or whatever. And some of them you think, yeah, and some of them you go, no, I can't see how you're getting that at all. But different people will taste different things, of course. But
The one thing I do notice about this, compared to when I've had coffee before, particularly black coffee, and you gave me a coffee at one of the rehearsals.
a couple of weeks ago in
Yes.
rehearsal, yeah.
This doesn't get caught at the back of the throat.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, there's
find
none of
they
that
often do.
bitterness in there.
No,
Yeah.
it really does just
Yeah.
go down
Well, they say that, although I think it's a little bit of a myth, but they say that you taste different flavors, different places on the tongue. And bitter is supposedly at the back of the tongue, although there are bitter taste buds all over the tongue. That's where it feels like it's coming from. So if you're saying you're not feeling that at the back of the throat, that's quite interesting that you're not detecting that bitterness there. So
And as you know, I'm not very familiar with bitter.
Rob does like an occasional glass of
Ale.
ale. There's no other way to do it, is it? We went out for a few last night, actually, didn't we? Very pleasant. Right. Well, thank you for that, guys. I'm glad we did the coffee. I wanted to ask you both where are you originally from, because Rob, you said you moved here during COVID. So where do you herald from originally?
Well, I was brought up in Hampshire, as you can probably guess from my accent. If you've been to Hampshire, although I spoke like that as a lad, apparently. Apparently I had a Hampshire accent.
Blimey.
And I'd go out on my bike. So
Not
somewhere,
a chatter.
so somewhere along the line, I've changed my accent, but I'm from Hampshire. However, I moved around a lot as a child, and I was actually born in Stafford.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
my father was he was head of a secondary school. But when he was here, he was deputy head of a school, and we lived in Stafford. And I was born here. One of my sisters had three, was also born here. But in 18 months old, we left here, went to Manchester to the exciting Ashton-under-Lyne.
Oh, yes.
Yes, which is a delight. And he was head of Duckinfield Secondary Modern. And the apocryphal story is that he was invited as a local important person to go and judge a beauty contest, because they were the kind of thing that happened in the
absolutely,
60s,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And he came back and said to my mum, well, if that's the quality of ladies around here, I think I should move for my son's sake. He didn't actually speak like that,
Brilliant.
but he was from Accrington. Anyway, no, he was ambitious and he wanted to move, and he got a headship in Hampshire. I mean, I could have been in Shropshire or Devon or anywhere, but we ended up in Hampshire. So that's where I'm from.
Very
nice.
nice.
Then I got back here because I went to teacher training college, Criminal Sager College.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And did a teaching practice in Stafford, coincidentally.
Nice.
Although I had by then met the love of my life, the lovely Joanne, who was from Stafford. So and she didn't want to stay here, but we have.
We have. And what about you, Becky? Where do you herald from?
Mine's not quite as exciting. I grew up in a little village called Croston, Lancashire way.
Lancashire.
Yeah,
I love Lancashire.
Lancashire lass.
Going up to the Lake
Yeah.
District next week myself.
Can't beat a bit of Lancashire.
Yeah.
Yes, a little village called Croston. Very similar, now I realise as a grown up, very similar to Eccleshall. So
Yeah.
it's same village, just different location. Moved around a little bit for work. Spent a bit of time in Cardiff, a bit of time in Oxford. Before moving to Birmingham, and Birmingham's lovely, but it was getting a bit wild as the older I got. And so we ended up in Eccleshall.
Do you think, I mean, you said Eccleshall's very similar to where you grew up. Do you think you're naturally drawn eventually to go back to places that are similar to where you grew up? Because I grew up in Wheaton Aston, and it's very quiet, very community oriented. And then I've ended up living out in Millmease. Because although I lived in Stone for a while, I like returning to the quiet. Do you think you're always drawn back to that if you've grown up with it?
You're drawn back to what you're comfortable with and what feels like home.
Yeah.
I would agree completely, because we ended up living in Devon, going from Hampshire to Devon when my father retired.
Lovely.
Yes, it was lovely. Unfortunately, he died shortly afterwards.
What a shame.
And I then moved from Hampshire down to Devon because I wasn't going to go with them when they retired. But obviously, when he passed away, he asked me if I'd go down and look after my mum and my little sister. So I went down to Devon, and that was a small community place. But where we were from in Hampshire, my village, I did everything in my village. I played for the football team, the cricket team. I was in the pantomimes.
Oh, no, you weren't.
Yeah, so shocking.
I knew everybody and everybody knew me, and you know, everyone knew everyone's business. And I loved that. And I can still go back there now at the age of 61, and people say, oh, as if they'd seen me, you know, a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And yes, when I came to Eccleshall, having lived in Stafford for a number of years, I rediscovered that's the same things were in Eccleshall that I'd had back in Hampshire.
Yeah.
Everyone knew everybody. I could
It's
get
lovely,
involved in
isn't
lots
it?
of different things, which I am. I do lots of stuff, and I know loads of people very, very quickly.
It's so nice. I mean, I met you guys in the pub. I went to the pub quiz, and
Of course.
you're one of the quiz masters, and I just felt immediately welcomed. It was you and Mark hosting the quiz, and just felt welcome straight away, you know, and just felt like we'd moved down the road. We just popped in on the off chance because they said they did pizzas on a Wednesday night, you know, and it was really welcoming, and we've never left.
And that's what I found. But equally, ECAD did that for me because Charlotte and I went down and were immediately welcomed in, whether we were any good or not. Oh, come and join us. Come and have a drink.
Yeah.
As ever in Eccleshall. And everyone I've met has been very welcoming, you know, even if they're not to do with the drama, say if they're dog walkers or, I don't know, anyone in the street always says hello. It's just a very, very friendly, enjoyable place to be.
First time we went there after we'd moved, we noticed how courteous all the drivers were. Like at the mini roundabout, people flashing you out and stuff, and stopping at the crossing, and that it was quite an eye opener.
There are literally billions and billions of podcasts out there, so the chances of finding intelligent life amongst them are so infinitesimally small as to not even be worth looking. Could you then have stumbled onto the one podcast where intelligent life could exist? No, you haven't.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, so what kind of shows have you done as ECAD?
Well, I think you should ask Becky that. I mean, there was an Amdram group in Eccleshall prior to ECAD, wasn't there?
Yes, there was the Eccleshall Players, but they've not been around for a while. But we've done, there's been loads now. We started off quite small with a little play. We did Agatha Christie. Gosh, that was a long time ago. And then we moved into the wonderful world of Panto.
Which Agatha Christie was it?
It was Agatha Christie and the Village Hall Murders.
Oh, nice. How appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, yes, lots of pantos. We've done Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, The Wizard of Oz, which is where Rob joined us as the lovely
Fabulous.
Tin Man. And we've done Peter Pan. We've done some murder mysteries. We do love a bit of murder mystery.
I went to one of the murder mysteries. Great fun. Really good fun. Yeah.
And then the next one will be our nice challenging one, which will be Oliver, which has got a lot of
Have
singing
you done
and dancing.
any other musicals?
This is our first musical.
Okay.
So a definite step up for us.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
everyone's doing amazing with this one, and they've really
I have
risen
to say,
it.
from what I've seen so far, everyone is rising to the challenge, which is great, and I look forward to it. So,
I mean, you say we've never done musicals, but there has been a lot of music in the shows that we've done.
Yes.
You sang, because you've got a great singing voice, and a number of other people in the cast, well, Charlotte included,
Yes.
are great singers too. And you've always put in additional songs if they haven't been there, haven't you?
Yes, and especially since the lovely Emma joined us, our dancing seems to have exploded as well.
Great, great. Well, I think that's the nice thing, isn't it? In a community, you get people with different skill sets and you bring them all together. And it's that old cliche of the whole becomes more than the sum of its parts kind of thing, you know. So when you all put it together, it becomes something that none of you could have achieved individually, you know.
Yes, they're just a great group of people, and it just seems that over the time we've gone from being this just theatrical group to one big crazy theatre family.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. So, I mean, you talked about community. What do you think it brings to the community?
I think it's a great way to bring everyone together, different abilities, different ages, and just to know such a big group in the community, and to also have some of the kids that are coming to do it now and see their confidence grow when they're on the stage.
Yeah.
And even some people that have said, oh, I don't think I could get up on the stage, and now leading in some of these big parts.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see the confidence grow.
That is lovely. Have you got any show stories or anecdotes of things that have happened over the previous shows?
The one that springs to mind for me was when we were doing The Wizard of Oz. And we have a lot of families involved in this group. So we've got lots of
That's nice.
parents and children of different ages. So Katie and her mother Brig were both playing
The Good Witch and the Bad Witch.
Good Witch and Bad Witch, that's right. And the Good Witch had... There was a cue for the Bad Witch to appear. So the Good Witch was saying whatever she was saying, something lovely and floaty. And the Bad Witch had to appear and interrupt. But she didn't. Oh. And poor old Katie was ad-libbing desperately, saying, I think I can hear a witch somewhere in the distance, can't I? Until eventually Brig came bustling in, but it made us all laugh anyway. But yeah, it was fun.
Love it when that happens.
I think for me, it was when we did Cinderella, and it was maybe 2 days before the show, and our ugly stepsister, Mandy, got appendicitis and had her appendix removed and came back 2 days later and still did the show.
No.
It was
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
How she did that was amazing.
That's incredible. You're supposed to
yes,
lie
you're
down for
supposed to
6
rest,
weeks after an
yes.
appendicitis or
Yeah.
something, aren't you?
But no, she was up there.
Wow.
As our wonderful ugly stepsister.
Stitches and bandages and
Yeah.
presumably.
Dress was just holding it together.
That's incredible. Quite some achievement. I don't think
That's
I could do
commitment.
that. I think I'd use that as a very good excuse to drop out. So what if you could, if budget and time and space were no limit, what would be your dream show to put on?
See, I keep suggesting Calendar Girls, but no one seems to be up for this.
It's fine by me.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any argument from me.
That's a tough old question. Well, I suppose from a selfish point of view, being the age I am, there's a reducing number of roles that I can possibly play. But I'd love to be able to play Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. And you have got a nice singing voice, Rob. So I think...
Shucks. You're too kind. I'm not a singer. Becky's the singer, I've told you. You just made me sound like I've got a good singing voice with your clever kit you've got here.
We should get Becky doing a performance, actually, today.
Definitely.
Shouldn't we?
Oh, maybe at some point.
So, Rob, you are playing Fagin in this show. What's the best part about doing that? What do you like about it? What attracted you to the role in the first place?
I wasn't attracted to it. As what normally happens is Becky came to me one day and said,
Yes.
"You'll be Fagin if I do Oliver, won't you?" So I didn't really have much option. But obviously
I don't think it was even that. I think it's, we're doing Oliver, you're Fagin.
Fagin. Yeah.
That's about what it was. Well, it helps that there aren't many men around. Many men. As you have to do to warm up your voice.
He's stuck in Pattersong mode.
Yes. Well, it's a great role, isn't it? I mean, it's
wonderful. Yeah.
It's always more interesting playing people who are a little bit dodgy.
Yeah.
You did relish in Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm rarely understated on the stage, as my wife often tells me.
Okay, subtle acting.
Yes. So
I always wanted to do Scrooge in Christmas Carol. I just thought I'd love to be Scrooge, just to be that absolute miser, that absolute miserable.
Absolutely, that was the most fun. I mean, I did love being Captain Hook.
I can imagine. I'm gutted that I didn't see that, because I think that would have been amazing.
And I was able to be very, very mean to Becky's daughter, Abby.
It was mini Captain Hook.
What's your?
No, I wasn't mean to her. No, she was my understudy, wasn't she? That's right.
Yes,
It was
Mini Hook.
whatchamacallit. I was
Yeah.
I've forgotten his name now.
Coat peg.
Yes.
Coat Peg, what a great name.
Yes. No, it's in this one I've got to be mean to Abby.
Yes.
But no, it's great. Anything that's over the top, I'm all for.
Yeah. And what about you, Becky? What's your dream role on stage? I mean, I know you like to be behind the scenes, but everyone's trying to encourage you more and more to not be behind the scenes. So what would be your dream role if?
Oh, it'd be a more singing based one. So having recently watched Six, that would be quite fun to be in
Nice.
with those 6 ladies doing that singing.
I mean, there's no reason why the group couldn't do like a cabaret evening.
Cabaret,
sometime,
of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
or cabaret itself,
Yeah,
of
itself,
course. But
the actual show,
that's-
cabaret,
or
yes. Mm-hmm.
some kind of variety show where there's a bit of everything. Some magic tricks. I know your daughter's into magic.
She does love a bit of magic, yes.
Yeah, and that. So,
And we do have a magician as
do
one
have
of
a
our
magician.
oh really?
actors. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Craig Davis is a very, very entertaining magician who was in the last show.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that. No, he's a dark horse.
And
Yeah.
there is a, next weekend, there's a cabaret act at the community centre
Fabulous.
where you will see quite a few members of ECAD up there doing a bit more singing and dancing.
Brilliant.
And in
Brilliant.
fact, Charlotte and you
Yes.
are doing a song from Six, aren't
Yes, we are.
you? Yeah.
Fabulous.
Which is brilliant,
What
having
song's
seen
that?
it.
Which one is it?
We're doing 3 actually. We're doing 6, Don't Lose Your Head, and Heart of Stone.
Fabulous. Very nice. Look forward to that.
Climb to fame, climb to fame. It's your chance to drop a name. Trying to outdo each other's kind of lame. One-upmanship is the only aim. Claim to fame, claim to fame, claim to fame, claim to fame. Thank you very much.
So, who wants to go first on Claim to Fame? Tell us about your claims to fames.
That's it. I've been trying to think about this. I suppose for me, one time in my younger years, I must have been about 18, 19, I wanted to go and watch Alice Cooper. I do like a little bit of rock. But at the time, none of my friends liked Alice Cooper. So the only person who would go with me to the show was my dad. And then at the end of the show, my dad went off to use the loo. I was waiting. And one of the security guards comes up and goes, "Oh, do you want to come backstage and meet Alice Cooper and the band?"
Nice.
And I was like, yes. Clearly, I think he thought I was there with a group of women. And I said, "Can I bring my dad?" And you should have seen the face fall. And it was literally me, lots of women, and my dad waiting to
Brilliant.
go backstage. But we did get to go backstage and it was great
Fabulous.
fun.
That's really
But
nice.
yeah.
I've seen Alice Cooper live in Birmingham. Absolutely fabulous.
He's
What a show.
amazing.
What a show.
Yeah, such a showman. It is
totally.
almost like
Good old
theatre.
Vincent. Good old Vincent.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And what about you, Rob?
I really don't have a claim to fame, as I think I tried to tell you earlier. But
However,
I mean, it's a very, very feeble claim to fame. When I went to sixth form college, a tertiary sixth form college, my surname being Davis, we were put into tutor groups, and there were twin lads in there called Davis, Danny and Pete. So Danny, Pete, Rob, the three of us, we became mates very quickly. And I played sport with one and I did drama with the other, and we were, and our friends became their friends. Well, after about a month of being there, it was discovered that it was Dickie Davis's sons, Danny and Pete. So Dickie Davis of World of Sport fame. So if you're anywhere near my vintage, you'll remember him very well.
I remember him very clearly.
And then obviously we got to know them because we'd go and stay at their house, and Uncle Dickie, as he became known
Very
to us, would appear, and he'd come and watch us in all our performances, and he'd come and watch us play sport. And I recall going to stay in their house, and the day after, Eric Morecambe had been staying in their house, and Eric Morecambe being
what
the
a legend.
my father's favourite comedian ever, and sleeping in the bed that he'd slept in. So that's as close as I get to a proper claim to fame.
Wow. That's pretty good.
That's a good
for
claim
a man
to
who
fame.
says he doesn't
Yeah.
have a claim to fame. That was multi-layered.
It was. It kept going, didn't it?
I missed meeting Eric by about 30 seconds because he came to pick up Pete from a rehearsal, and I had to nip out to the lavatory. And when I came back, all the other actors were in there looking askance and all overexcited because apparently he'd stuck his head around the door in Eric Morecambe's style to call Peter to give him a lift back.
Brilliant.
And I missed it. I'm gutted, utterly gutted.
I love some of the stories about those guys from back there, like the one that Tommy Cooper would turn up to the pub in his dressing gown, pretending that he'd overslept. He'd have his full clothes underneath. But Brilliant.
But apparently Eric was exhausting to be around because he was never off when he was at home. So when he stayed with them for weeks on end. And they would say, it's great having Eric in the house, but we're worn out.
Yeah, I can imagine. Need to recharge after he's left. Yeah. Fabulous. So Oliver is coming up soon. When's the show on, Becky?
The 14th and 15th of June.
Fabulous.
I think then I panicked.
And there's a matinee on the Saturday as well, isn't there?
Yes, there's the Friday night, and then we've got a Saturday day and a Saturday night.
Fabulous.
We normally do 2 Saturday days and then a Sunday, but through trial and error with my wonderful cast, letting them out on a Saturday night and then expecting them to do a show on a Sunday
Good thinking.
wasn't always the most
where you're
practical
going with
thing.
that.
So we have changed it this time.
Yeah, and I think some people on a Sunday, it's not just the cast that are hungover sometimes. Yeah, no, that's fabulous. And tell us where it's taking place.
So it's Eccleshall Community Centre. This is where we do most of our big shows. If we're not doing a big show at the community centre, we do our little ones above the Royal Oak.
Fabulous. And where can we get tickets?
So tickets are available from trybooking.com for Oliver.
Yeah, I will put the link in the show notes for anyone who wants the link. And the society is eccleshawdramatics.co.uk, I believe.
Yes, that's us.
Fabulous. Well, thank you both very much for being on the show. We were talking about Fagin earlier, Rob. And, of course, at one point in the show, he thinks about turning over a new leaf, doesn't he?
He does. He reviews his situation.
I think that leads us nicely into a song.
Got a heart, hasn't he? Joking apart, hasn't he? And though I'd be the first one to say that I wasn't a saint, I'm finding it hard to be really as black as they paint. I'm reviewing the situation. Can a fellow be a villain all his life? All the trials and tribulation. I better settle down and get myself a wife. And the wife would cook and sew for me, and come for me, and go for me, and go for me, and nag at me. The finger she would wag at me, the money she would take from me, a misery she'd make for me. I think I better think it out again. A wife you can keep anyway. I'd rather sleep anyway. Left without anyone in the world, then I'm starting from now. So how to win friends and to influence people? So how Viewing the situation. I must quickly look up everyone I know. Titled people with a station who can help me make a real impressive show. I will own a suite at Claridge's and run a fleet of carriages and wave at all the duchesses with friendliness as much as is befitting of my new estate. Good morrow to you, magistrate. I think I'd better think it out again. Where shall I go? Somebody? Who do I know? Nobody. All my dearest companions have always been villains and thieves. So at my time of life I should start turning over new leaves. I'm reviewing the situation. If you want to eat, you've got to earn a bob. Is it such a humiliation for a robber to perform an honest job? So a job I'm getting possibly. I wonder who my boss will be. I wonder if he'll take to me, what bonuses he'll make to me. I'll start at 8 and finish late and the roll will rate. Wait, I think I'd better think it out again. What happens when I'm 70? Must come a time, 70, when you're old and it's cold and who cares if you live or you die. Your one consolation, the money you may have put by. I'm reviewing the situation. I'm a bad un, and a bad un I shall stay. You'll be seeing no transformation, but it's wrong to be a rogue in every way. I don't want nobody hurt for me or made to do the dirt for me. This rotten life is not for me, it's getting far too hot for me. There is no in between for me, but who will change the scene for me? Don't want no one to rob for me. Who will find a job for me? I think I'd better think it out again. Hey!
Brilliant. Absolutely fabulous. Rob, Becky, it's been a lot of fun and an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks very much both. And listeners, we look forward to seeing you at the performance.
Well, thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
You're
It's
welcome.
been a pleasure.
Take care. You've been listening to A Couple of Drips. The show was conceived and presented by Chris Granger and is a Cup the Mic production.